In this video, we're going to be expanding on our hunger and thirst system. So previously we have it set up so over time your hunger and thirst start to slowly degenerate or decrement, as you can see here. Now we're going to make it so you have the ability to walk up to a can of beans and a water bottle, and it will increase either your your hunger or your thirst, depending on which one you have picked up. So I went ahead and made crappy little meshes here, one for the can of food, one for the water bottle, and they will be linked in the description for download if you want them. So if you want to simply set this up, all you need to do is right click, import to game, find, for example, the food can. Just select everything that's going to be included in the download. This will not be there. Click open. Then once it's open, you will find a material in there. Then one way you can set this up is simply take all three of these images, textures, and just click and drag them in. Then you can simply connect the nodes just like so. So pause it here if you get stuck, but it's going to be the exact same for the water bottle as well. Okay, so my thought on this was, at least from a programming point of view, we have the client, and he will perform a line trace when he presses E. Now that line trace will start at the head bone and will have the angle/rotation of the camera, and will be extending outward roughly 150 or so units. Now remember, units in Unreal Engine are equivalent to 1 centimeter. So it'll be going out about 150 centimeters from the player's head at the direction the camera is facing. And if that line trace happens to hit, such as something like this can of beans or this water bottle, it will perform that line trace again, but on the server. Because remember, the server has the authority, and we don't want the client to have any authority over things such as his hunger or thirst. So the line trace is going to be ran again on the server, and if everything checks out on the server to prevent cheating, such as if the client tried to, let's say, pick up an item 100 meters away from him or something like that, it just wouldn't work. So the server picks up, detects that the item is, in fact, it does line trace, the line hits it, just like it did on the client, everything's fine. Then we're going to have functions on our actors here. These are just static meshes for now. We're going to create the actors here in a second. We'll have a function on the actor that manipulates either the hunger or the thirst, or if we get around to making a health pickup, it'll do the health. It'll all be essentially the same actor, just with a different mesh and a different enum to tell us what it is. So let's go ahead and create that actor. You go over here to C++ classes, your project name, right click, new C++ class, actor, and I'm going to call this one pickups, or pickups. Now, one thing we're going to need to go ahead and add, at least just for now, is a static mesh, and then we're going to expose this class to blueprint to allow us to simply set the mesh, such as a water bottle or a can of beans. So let's go ahead and remove our tick function, as it's no longer needed. We're going to go ahead and include the static mesh component. So components, static mesh component. Going to make another protected section. Make it a U property so we can change it. Edit anywhere. Category equals, I'm just going to call it I don't even know what to call it. Whatever. No category. So we're going to forward declare it. So class u static mesh component, name it mesh comp. There we go. Spelled that wrong. Then we need to use create default subobject to set it. So mesh comp equals create default subobject u static mesh component. Static mesh component is the name we're going to give it. And then we need to set the root component. So root component equals mesh component, or mesh comp. Now we can simply Control-Shift-B to build. Alrighty, if we go back to our Unreal Engine, go to Pickups, right-click, create Blueprint class based on pickups, and change my pickup where it says my to BP underscore pickups. Alright, now we can go here to Mesh Comp, click the drop down, wait a second. Ah, here it is. It's under static mesh, duh. So for static mesh, we're going to select we're going to select the food can, compile and save. I want to make it actually another one of these. BP food. I'm going to right click, and where's duplicate? Duplicate, and change this one to BP water. And then simply change the mesh out to the water bottle. Compile, save. Now if we place our actors down in the world, we have one that is a can of beans and one that is a water bottle. And they're both under the same exact class, which is pickups. So now we need to actually figure out a way to, well, interact with it. So let's go ahead and create another class. This one's going to be an actor component, and we're going to use this one for our line traces. So new C++ class, actor component. Just going to call this line trace. Now let's go ahead and look up the parameters that they take in. So we're just going to be, for now, I think, using line trace by single, or line trace single. So Unreal Engine line trace single. Alright, scroll down to the bottom, and we can see the header that we need to include. So in the CPP, we're going to go ahead and include that, and just like before, we're going to be removing the tick functions. And we should be good. So Control-Shift-B to build, just to make sure. Alrighty, we're good to go. So now we're going to make a couple public functions. Well, for this one we're just going to do a actor as the return type, and call it line trace single. Then we're going to do f vector start, f vector end, and we're going to actually have two of these. One's going to be an overloaded version, so this one's going to have a bool show debug line, and the only difference is we can either, well, literally just call one and show a debug line so we can actually see it by just simply adding true to the end as an extra parameter, or we can do a normal line trace and just have our pass in our start and our end. So let's go ahead and create a definition. And do the same thing here. Alrighty, so for our overloaded function, we're simply going to call line trace single, pass in start and end. So we're going to do actor equals line trace single. And then here's where we would do the debug line. And I cannot remember what we have to include for the debug line, so I'm going to look that up here in a second. But first, let's do our line trace single. So if we look up here, right, so we know we would go off of the world. So get world, got to include an engine.h. So get world, line trace single by, let's do object type. Alright, first parameter is the hit, so we're going to do f hit result. So out hit result. Then it takes in the start, so start, then the end. Now our collision parameters, and we want to, actually we would want to pass, well no, because this would be on the actor. So f collision object query params, collision params, collision, did I spell that right? Collision params dot act, wait no it's not, what is this? It is a f collision object query params, collision object query, yeah that's right, it should have the ignore actor. At least I thought so. So anyways, collision params, then the next parameter is f collision query params, f collision query params, collision query params, golly, can I spell? Dot, there we go, add ignore actor, what's it called, get, well, yeah, literally get owner, that's convenient. So we want to ignore our character. So collision query params, and actually I think that's all the parameters, isn't it? Yep, okay. So this returns the actor, no this returns, okay, true if it hits something, so we don't, yeah we can do it here. If, then we simply want to get return hit result dot get actor, else we want to return null pointer. Okay, so what this is going to do is, let's say our start location is our head bone, and our end location is from our head bone 150 centimeters away, well in front of us, at the direction that our camera is looking. It's going to send out a little line or array using like pretty much that line. If anything is in between or contacting that line, it is going to pass it out to hit result. But just to be on the safe side, we set this up to ignore ourselves, our own character mesh, actor, whatever, so it does not get picked up by the line, but anything else that gets hit by the line will. So if, let's say we hit the food can, if we did, or even a wall, it's going to return the actor that it hit. And from here, since it's returning an actor, we can simply cast it to our pickups class, and if the cast is successful, then we know that we hit a pickups class, such as this water bottle or this can of beans. Alrighty, so let's do draw debug line. Actually, I think that's included in engine, isn't it? Nope. Draw debug line. There it is. Draw debug helpers. Okay, so, yep, just draw debug line. So, draw debug line. First parameter, so get world, start, end, F color, I'm going to do red. Then false, do not want the lines to stay there forever. Let's make them visible for 3 seconds. Use 0. And thickness, 5 should be good, I think. Yeah, it should be fine. And if show debug line, alrighty, let's go ahead and build. So this, if we call this function, it's going to be doing the exact same thing. The only difference is if we pass in true as a third parameter, it's going to draw a line in the world for us to actually see. So we're probably going to primarily be using this, the overloaded version of the function, just so we can actually see the line. Okay, so now we want to actually set this up. Actually, we want to add it to our survival character. Where do I have all this stuff at? Oh, here. So we're going to do class u line trace. Just going to call it line trace. Yeah, line trace comp. Then we're going to do at the bottom here the create default sub object again. So line trace comp equals create default sub object. Line trace component, and we need to include it actually. So include line trace dot h. So u line trace. Alright, we now have our component set up. Now we just need to set up a way to use it. I'm trying to think of exactly how I want to set this up. Probably just do it right in the character, actually. So let's create a little function here. Void. I guess interact is a decent name. Then bind it here. I'm just going to copy this. Interact. Interact. Alright, let's go ahead and make the definition. So we'll put it down at the bottom, right after a temp jump. So void a survival character. Interact. And here's where we're going to do our line trace. So yes, they are public. So a actor equals line trace component, line trace single. As you can see, we have 2 versions here. So we need to get our starting and ending location. So I want to get the bone of our head, or our head bone. So f vector start equals get mesh. Should return skeletal. Yep. Alright, we need to include skeletal mesh component. Components / skeletal mesh component. Let's see, there's an error. What line? Oh, bind axis. Bind action. I.e. pressed. There, now it should fix it. Yep. It's a get mesh. Bone location, get bone location. Then the bone name, so F name. And bone name should just be head in all lowercase. So mannequin, character, mesh, the skeleton. Yep, the bone name is head in all lowercase. So head. Then the F vector end equals, so what do we assign there? Camera to. Alright, so our camera name is follow camera. So we're going to do follow camera, get rotation, get component rotation, then dot vector. Actually, forward rotation would probably fit. Can we do that? Yeah, get forward vector. And then we want to multiply it by 150. So that should be 150 centimeters out in front. So pass in start, end, and true. So now, actually we need to set up, I called it indirect. We need to set up our little input real quick. So settings, project settings. So this when the player presses E, it is going to actually do the ray trace or the line trace. Alright, so E on the keyboard, save, save. Let's do it in the viewport. So let's hope it doesn't crash. E. Alright, so it's working except it's not going properly by our camera's rotation. Also, that's surprisingly a long line. So let's change this to just 50. Let's do follow camera, get rotation, so get component rotation dot vector, and that, so we're converting a F rotator to an F vector just by adding this at the end. So hopefully we should be getting the camera's rotation and then 50 meters away from it. And the line is still absurdly long for some reason. Why is that? Let's try something real quick. Get mesh. Actually, this get actor rotation. Oh, right, dot vector. Huh. I wonder if one of these, either the start or the end, it's got to be the end that's getting screwed up. What if I pass in start again? And the line should be, well, not even visible. Yeah, because I'm not messing with it at all. Yeah, it's just little dots, so that's working fine. So it's our end. So line start, line end. Wait, oh, I'm an idiot. Start plus where we want it to end. Or plus then the rotation that we want converted to a vector times the distance we want. I'm sorry. Yep, as you can see, it's going by our actor's location now just fine. So let's go back and set it to our follow camera again. So follow camera, get forward vector. And that is a really short line again, so change that back to 150. And now we should be set up and good to go. Here's where we do our comparisons to make sure that we are in fact getting a pickup of item. Alright, so yep, it is working. Can we reach the ground? Not quite, so let's go up to about 170 should be fine. Alright, now let's do a check. If actor UE log temp warning text hit actor. Let's actually print out the name. Actor get name. So now if we press E and that line collides with a wall, for example, we should be able to see that just fine. Whoops. And it should print out the name of the object. Alright, it's not printing out anything in the log. There, it's picking up that. That's just a little low. Trying to hit the bottle, but I keep hitting everything else. There we go. So yeah, as you can see, it's picking up what we're hitting just fine. So now that we know that, we just simply do our actor check, and we're going to do our cast. So we need to include our pickup. So include pickups .h duh. And if what was it? A pickup equals cast. So cast to a pickups. Starting to regret calling it pickups now. From actor. We can print out another little log. Actor is a pickup. So pretty much what this cast is going to do, it is if it returns something valid, so it's pretty much going to attempt to cast it first. And if it does cast it, then we've already stored the cast inside of our pickup variable here, which will allow us to pretty much use whatever functions or variables we made public. Well, we are going to make public inside of our pickups class. So let's go ahead and try it. So hit BP food, and it says actor is a pickup. Alright, so now we can actually start setting this up. So from here, I do want to run this on the server. So survival character.h, u function, server reliable, and with validation, void server interact, bool. Actually, inside there, I'd want to. Actually, no, yeah, we're fine. So, boolean server interact validate void server interact implementation. Alright. So now we can actually, let's just go and do it for our validate. And here we are. Alright, I'm trying to think of how I want to go about doing this. So no matter what, when we do our interact, it's going to be called on the client because it's waiting on us to press E for this function to actually run. So I'm trying to think. What we can do here is, instead of having a bunch of stuff in the valid or the implement, actually we can put it in the implementation and it'll be just fine. Alright, yeah, let's do that. So if it does hit something, we're going to call server interact why are you I wonder if I spelled it wrong. Unless this is just an annoying little IntelliSense bug. So if I have a character.h. Whoops. That would probably be why. Alright, there. Now you're happy. Just gotta wait for that stupid thing to go away. But it'll go away here in a second. Alright. So, we did in fact make a hit with our line. Then we check. Okay, we casted it. And it is in fact a pickup item. So, now that we know that, we're going to do the same thing on the server, just to confirm it. Actually, might as well just copy and paste it. And in here, this is where we're going to do all of our, manipulation. So we're going to call the whatever pickups function on here, because it's going to be running on the server. So from the server, that pickups is going to call, I don't know if we've made it. Yeah, so it's going to call either our increase hunger or increase thirst functions that we're going to have out here. So hopefully this is making sense so far. Right, so let's actually make a function for our pickup. So void use item. Void a pickups use item. Right, so now we need to let's include our character. Survival character. Let's see, we should have our stats component. Alright, let's actually make this public. I'm going to make another section. Public. Alright, stats component. So now in our pickups we can do, actually we need to pass in the actor. It's a survival character. I'll just call it player. That's going to be our parameter. So player stat player stat component. We also need to include our stat component. Alright, so let's just search for hunger. As you can see, we're getting our functions list there. So here's where we would call our add hunger. So void, and just add hunger, float value, void add thirst, float value. Oops. So we're going to do a quick little test and just set this for hunger. So add hunger. Let's set a variable here. Protected. Make another section. Actually, we already have one here. Duh. U property. Edit anywhere. Float. Increase amount. Just by default, going to set increase amount to, let's do 30. So by increase amount, got to forward declare this, and we should be good to build. We're gonna want to do a check here as well to make sure we do have authority. Same thing with on our character. All right, what did I miss? 916. Derp. Alright, so just to make sure, let's go to our character, and under implementation function, we're going to do if role, and I typed that at the wrong time, if role equals role authority, then we're going to run all this. Same thing in pickups, if role equals role authority, not that. Let's go ahead and build. I'm going to do a UE log actually. Adding hunger. Alright, what now? Alright, let's just start commenting out stuff that we just added. Make sure it's not something stupid. I have a slight feeling it's due to the parameter, but I'm not quite sure. Let's just see. Yeah. Okay, so that's why for whatever reason. I wonder why it's not liking that, unless it's because I'm forward declaring it inside the header. Okay, or it's just going to suddenly work just fine for whatever reason. Makes complete sense. Is it when I use it? So I guess it's because we're trying to access another actor's component. Let's try a different setup. Put this back up here. Get stat component. And just for the test, return player stat comp. Let's see if I can actually call it just fine. I hope. Maybe no matching token. Oh. Alright. Let's try add hunger by increase amount. And hopefully this does not have an issue messing around inside the component, which it still does. Why would that be? Yeah. Yeah. I'll look at this later. So for now, I'm going to go back to doing... Actually, I'll leave that there like so. Let's create another function. Void add hunger. Player stat component. Add hunger. Not sure why I did that. Alright, so now we're just simply going to call add hunger. Line 87. Guy forward declared and it'll be fine. Or am I going to have to probably create a definition inside the CPP, which I'm going to have to. Alright. Oops. Let's go ahead and build. Where'd it put it? Oh, what now? Is it just whenever I access the component? Wait, I never actually made... Did I? Oh, I never made definitions for him. Duh. I feel like an idiot. Add hunger. Alright, for now, hunger plus equals value. thirst plus equals value. And now it should, wait, forgot to comment it out of line. And if this works, that was the issue. And of course it works just fine. Alrighty. Let's change this back. We're going to make this public again. Remove our add hunger function. And change this out to... Come on, give me the list. There we go. Player stat component. What in the world? Player stat component. Add hunger. Increase amount. Now we should be good to go. So in here, we'd simply do a check with our enum. So whatever type we have this class set to, whether it's food, water, or even health, we will call the player stat component to alter whatever it is based on whatever our enum is set to. Let's do a check. Fire it to the ground, so notice the floor. And I just gotta be able to actually item to the right. Actor is a pickup. And that dropped everything right down to 0 for some reason. It's dedicated. Yep. Wait, why is everything set to 0? Wonder if I need to compile this again. Alright, that's probably why. If I can just hit it. Which I might actually be hitting it. Alrighty, now let's look. Alright, actor is a pickup. But it is not doing anything. So we should... Actually, let's see. Make sure it's actually... Oh, we never called use item. Duh. Sorry, I keep going back and forth. So interact, server interact, pickup, use item. Alright. And well, no, this... Wait, no. Yeah, this would return. Yeah. Alrighty. So now we should be good to go. And it should be adding to our hunger. Whoopee. I hope. Yep, adding hunger. And it is going down all the same. So let's just do a quick little test on dedicated. Just to make sure we're okay. So there's our thing. I want to try to cheat it real quick. Alrighty, so float. 496.5. That is 70. 95.5. 95. 94. Alright, so one of these is our hunger. Alright, so let's just try 100. Alright, that's our thirst. This should be our hunger, so 100. Make sure it changes back. Alright, so that's being controlled by the server. And when I pick up the item, it goes to 120. Change it back to 100. back up. So it is in fact being controlled and handled on the server whenever we pick up the food. So one thing we can do, all we need to do is simply, so I don't know if we would need a multicast or not, since it's on, yeah, I think we actually would. So when we pick up the can of food, we're going to multicast pretty much just multicast to delete the actor, so it's no longer in the world for anybody. The class itself is just completely gone, and we don't need to worry about it after that. Alright, so shut down the server. Pickups. So that does make me kind of curious, because it is on the server. So if we call destroy, will that destroy it on the clients as well? Sorry, like I said at the beginning, I'm still kind of just learning. Alright. Alright, yeah, it's still there. So now it's no longer saying actor is a pickup. I mean, it's no longer saying adding hunger when I click it, because we've pressed it once. So I'll just show you, for example, this is actually a good example. So when we first press E on the can of food, it says hit actor, and the food, then it confirmed that it is a pickup item, as we showed with the other log. Keep in mind, this log specifically is only on the server. It's not going to be on the client. So then it says adding hunger, because the item is there. Like it did in fact, where actually is it? Okay. So we hit it on the client, which is why it ran actor is a pickup. That's where I have this hint here. And then it calls the server version. So on the server, it performs the exact same line trace. And if it actually hit an actor, and that actor is also in fact a pickup, then it's going to call use item. And use item prints out a message called adding hunger. And it's only going to print out this message on the server. So it prints that out for the very first run, meaning that item is still there and valid. But as you can see, because we called destroy, again, on the server, when we press E on this can of food again, it does, hit actor, it confirms the actor is a pickup, but it does not say adding hunger. And that's because this object, or this class here, it just doesn't exist anymore on the server, so nothing's going to happen. Which is why our hunger never continually went up. So it's a one-time use. So what we are going to actually have to do, because that showed me for sure, we are going to have to multicast the destroying of the class. So we can do that very much the same way as we did with our server functions. We do u function is it just multicast or net multicast in this? Let me look real quick. RPC. It is, net multicast. So net multicast. Then name void. Destroy actor. What's wrong with you? Oh, you're fine. Alrighty, so we're going to do it above use item, void a pickups, destroy actor, if has authority, role equals role authority, then we do destroy. Actually, we don't want to do this check, I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. So called destroy actor. I believe that's all you need for a multicast. You shouldn't have to do anything else. which we may actually need to. Let me look at Multicast real quick. Yeah. So I guess that we have to do pass in if it's reliable or unreliable. So reliable. I'm spelling that right. Net multicast. Net multicast. Oh. Include net Unreal Network. I feel like this is gonna fix it. Or maybe not. Because I don't think you need anything else for multicast, though. That's the thing. It's fire weapon effects. Alright, he has an implementation, so maybe you actually need to. Alright, spool, destroy actor, validate. I want to actually change the name, so multicast. And then void implementation. Validate. Return true. Change this to a Boolean return. Implementation. And call destroy. I did not spell you right, did I? Nope, derp. Void. Alrighty, so now we should be good. Damn it. Oh gosh, I had the wrong thing copied. Let me rephrase that. Now we should be good. Okay. So now, as a client, it should get removed. If I can hit it. Or it's still just going to be there. Oh, let me hit it. Actors pickup, actors pickup. So it's not getting destroyed. Destroy actor. Returns true. Let's print out a log. And hopefully we can at least see that it is running. Now it's not even saying that it's adding. That is kind of strange. Actually, I wonder if this is also destroying it first. Let's try adding the with validation tag to that. Destroying actor. Okay, so it is running. But why is it not actually destroying it on the client? Yeah, so for RPC, a multicast called from the server. From the server. Wait, multicast runs on the server and all clients. Okay. Then why are you not running for the clients? Let's make sure this isn't just a Unreal Engine editor bug. Yeah, it's still there. So it's a bug on our end somewhere. Let's try to think. Okay, so it is in fact calling this function. Huh. Wait, where's Multicast? Alright, this is the problem we're having. Yeah, that wasn't helpful. We need to set the actor to replicate, I think. Set replicates true. I did not even think of that. Yep. I feel like an idiot, but at least that's solved. So now we can create an enum. What's the syntax for enum in this? I'm gonna have to Google that one too. So, UEnum blueprint type. Okay. What do I want to call it? E pickup type. Alrighty. Yeah, it does need a semicolon. Maybe it doesn't need these, because I know the structs do. Alright, so, yeah, everything we should be good. Alrighty, so, let's see. Do water. Is it a comma or a semicolon? Yeah, it's comma. And then the last one should have none, or is it a semi? It's none. Alrighty. So we have our enum. We can create a quick little class or variable for it. Property, edit anywhere. Category, if I can spell it, category equals enums. Alright, so pickup type, pickup type. Pickup type equals pickup type. Actually, let's not have this have a default. Alright, so if pickup type equals pickup type food. Else if same comparison, but water. We're doing the exact same thing, but for thirst. And then no matter what, we're going to destroy the actor. Alrighty, let's go ahead and set the enums. Alright, so that's set to water. This one is set to food. Let's go ahead and save. And test it. Alright, so this should increase our food. Just like so. And it's gone. You can no longer click it. And this should be our water. Which it is. So we're good to go on that. Let's just test it on a dedicated server with 2 clients. Alrighty, so there's client 1. Where is he? There he is. So I'll go ahead and grab the water. So it's no longer there. And same thing with on this guy. And he cannot click it. So when this guy grabs food, If I can hit it. Golly, let me hit it. There we go. That goes up to 125. And as you can see, it's no longer there for the other client. Alright, so we now have a very simple, actually let's go ahead and add that little check so we can no longer go above 100. That's it. If hunger plus value is greater than 100, set hunger equals 100. Else hunger plus equals value. Same format for our thirst. Just change it to thirst. And we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and build. And then after we test this, I'll do a quick little walkthrough of what we've done, which you could probably just skip to, and it'll explain. Honestly, this video is probably like an hour or something. Alright. Sticks to 100. And same thing with thirst, so we're good to go. Okay, now what we have done. So when our player presses E, we have our input bound, or our interaction input bound to call our interact function, which is here. And when this function gets called, we want to create a starting and an ending location for a line that goes out. So basically, we are going to be going from our mesh, like our skeleton, our player's head, and we're going to create an end location by going from our player's head. Then we add the rotation of our camera, so whichever direction we're looking. Then we multiply it by the distance that we want that line to travel. So we want our line to travel 170 units or centimeters, which is roughly from our player's head to the ground. After we set those two variables, we call our line trace component, which simply makes a line from our starting, that starts at our starting location and ends at our end location. And we just pass in true so we can simply see the debug line with our overloaded function. And if that anything gets hit in that line, it will store it in actor. So even if it doesn't get hit, nothing gets hit, it's still going to null. This actor variable here is going to be null. It's going to be a null pointer. So that's why we do a check. So if actor, meaning if our actor is not a null pointer, we then attempt to cast our actor that we hit into our pickup class, which means the actor that we hit is in fact one of our pickup items. So if that's the case, keep in mind this function is running on the client. We want to perform the same test on the server for security reasons, obviously, and it makes everything a little bit easier. So we call our server interact function, and inside of our server interact function, we do a quick little check, make sure we are in fact the authority. We're going to do the exact same thing with our line trace. See, get rid of the true parameter. Then we're going to check, make sure the actor again is valid, and if it is in fact a pickup item. So the reason we're doing this on the server is it's a way to prevent the client from cheating. So as you can see here, the client, it just simply checks to see if it hits something. It's not actually adding or using that item at all. The server is what's doing it, which is why we call our server interact function. So we do our check to confirm that in fact our player did actually try to press E and pick up an item. So if he picked up, if the item that he hit with the line trace or the actor that he hit is in fact a pickup item, we call our useItem function. Now inside of our useItem function, first off we pass in the player that actually is trying to use the item. We check to make sure that we are in fact the authority, because we only want this to be called from the server. And if that is the case, we compare with our enum. Now our enum has two different types right now, food and thirst. And if we want to do health, we would literally add just another else if and another enum for health. And we would just call our add health function. Very simple. So we do our check. If we pressed E and we hit our, like a item that's supposed to be a can of food, then we simply add hunger to our player. And if it's thirst, we add thirst. And that in turn, since this, we actually can do a check, make sure it's the if role equals role authority. We're probably going to want to do this again. And I need to get owner role, not just straight role. Get owner role. Just to make sure. So, for example, add hunger and add thirst. We're going to do a check, make sure, again, that we're still running on the server and not the client. We're going to check, make sure the hunger plus the value that we're trying to add is not greater than 100. If it is, we just simply set our hunger to 100. If it's less than 100 when it's added together, we just do hunger equals hunger plus whatever value our food is supposed to equal. So once that's done, we are going to run a multicast. Now a multicast, so the way a multicast works is if it is called on the client, it will only run for that client. Now if I were to, let's say from the client, kind of how I did this here, if I did, instead of server interact, I called multicast destroy actor, it's only going to run for the client that called it, not anyone else, not the server. But since we are in fact right now the server, and we call our multicast function, it is going to run for the server and all the players on the server. Meaning that since we are destroying the actor, it is going to actually just destroy it and get rid of the class for everybody, the server and all the clients. We can get rid of this. That's no longer needed. Well, it wasn't needed to begin with, which is why you saw in the log sometimes, well, you would see it printing out destroy actor twice because it's running on the client and the server. So that's how we set up our little pickup, and we're probably going to end up doing a little health system next, and then adding once I model up a little health bar, not health bar, like a med kit or something, we will be just doing that. We'll do the exact same thing in our pickup class, but we'll add health. And as well as we will take our hunger and thirst, and we will do checks. So as our hunger gets lower than 0, and same thing with our thirst, we will slowly start to lose health. And the more hunger we do get, the faster we are going to lose that health. So that should be a good one. Hopefully this taught you something. I'm sorry I had a couple little issues, but you saw how I went about it resolving them. I know these videos are incredibly long, but if you're just starting out, I think they're quite useful. And realistically, if you skip to the end of the videos, you will kind of see a quick little walkthrough of what I do. And if you have somewhat of experience but you never tinkered in multiplayer and with Unreal Engine, it should give you a general idea to where you would know what to do. Alright, I'll just see you into the next one.